With active listings on the rise and sales volume on the decline, what's happening with Toronto real estate prices? This and so much more in our YouTube video for January 2025 Toronto real estate market update. Okay, before we dive in, please like this YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel below, and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithms. Thank you so much. All right, let's dive into the January numbers. Okay, so sales volume. Unsurprisingly, based on my lead in to this, is down 8%. Okay. Not overly surprising. There's been a lot of uncertainty, shall we say, with what's happening in Canada. Well, I don't want to make this a political video. This is certainly not what I'm trying to do. But there's a lot of stuff happening down south. New president, and is causing a lot of chaos, not only in Canada, but the rest of the world. So, this talk of tariffs and that whole drama that happened a few weeks ago, there's just a lot of uncertainty, right? And I think that's playing a role in what's happening with real estate in general. Um, yes, interest rates are on the decline, so that's certainly a positive indicator. But I think, certainly what I've noticed when speaking with buyers is that there's not a ton of motivation to do something right now. Now, of course, it's January or February as we're recording this. There's like 3 feet of snow outside and it's really cold, and there's not a ton of inventory to look at. So that's one thing. But I think there's a lot of buyers that are out there in more like a wait and see approach. Like, there's not a ton of reason to do something now. So, maybe wait a couple months to see what's happening with maybe things get settled with our friendly neighbors down south. Maybe we see another interest rate drop in March. I don't know. But, certainly two themes that I've noticed for January is buyers aren't that motivated and there's a ton of uncertainty. So those are playing a big, big role into these numbers and what's happening in the market right now. All right, as I led into this, active listings are up a whopping 70%. So, 70% sounds like a really big number, and it is a big number, actually. But you know what? Typically, when we see active listings rise as rapidly, we typically see prices fall. Now, they have fallen, and we're going to talk about this right now. But we're not seeing like a crazy dip in prices. Like, yeah, they're actually here. If you're looking at prices year over year, they're up 1.5%, but they're actually down from December. Like, usually what happens is December is like, usually, when I say usually, I use that in a more traditional market sense. Prices bottom in December and then they climb in January. We didn't see that this year. So that's something. But, up 1.5%, down 1.5%, like, these are really rounding number. Like, it's really immaterial, I think, in terms of where prices are. And I've been telling this to a lot of people that prices are basically, flat. Now, it depends on the asset class. Like, if you're talking about a freehold, condo, like, those markets are behaving differently right now. The condo market is more sluggish than the freehold market, but still, that should factor into your decision if you're looking to buy or sell right now. Okay, so active, as I said, I'm leading into these charts before I even talk about them. But yeah, so like we're down month over month, 2.5%, right? Like, is this like a major, decline? Not really. I mean, again, when you're looking at average sales price, you're taking a basket of goods from that sold in basket of houses, I should say, that sold in December, and you compare it to the basket of houses that sold in January, and the average is down now. Um, Again, like what we look at, or what I certainly look at, I look at trends. Like, I look to see where prices are going, and I look to see what like for like is selling. Like, so in other words, like, what is one house in a neighborhood that's very, very similar selling in that same neighborhood, a month or two later, right? Like, that's when we start to identify some trends. And so it's still too early to say what's going to happen, but I think we're going to be in this, like, what I call uncertainty mode, certainly for the next couple months. And that could fall into the spring. Like, we may get a very, very possible to get a delayed spring market. Now, there's two strategies, right? Like, if you're a buyer, actually, this is not a bad time to be thinking about buying, right? Because, as I said, there's a lot of uncertainty, and certainly this is not financial advice. But when you are buying, it's typically disadvantaged to buy when everyone else is buying, right? Because you're in bidding wars and there's multiple offers and there's preemptive offers and like competition is sky high. Like when you have time to shop and negotiate, like that's typically when you can negotiate the best terms. So that's one thing. Now, if you're selling, obviously, like it's a tougher market to sell in. But again, it depends on what you're selling. Like if you're selling a downtown condo, yeah, it's a little bit more challenging right now, and there's a lot more inventory. But you know what? If it presents well and you're priced correctly, it will sell. Like we've had a number of listings sell over the last number of months, and we just make sure that they're presented well so that buyers are incentivized to come in. Anyways, want to make this shorter, but I ended up talking a lot more than I wanted to. But I think there's just a lot of questions, and certainly we're getting a lot of questions coming in over the last several weeks, like what's happening, like what should we be worried about what's happening in the states, and how does that affect real estate? At the end of the day, I think if you are a buyer in this market and you feel stable with your employment, like, and you want to make a move, like i.e. there's a life change, like maybe you have a child, or maybe you're a growing family, or maybe you're downsizing, like those things matter. Your personal situation matters a lot in those cases. Like you don't necessarily say like, oh, the market's red hot, maybe I should do something. Like, yeah, there's some people that obviously do that, but in this case, like we're getting a lot of questions, so, and we love those questions. So please, this is why I've got this slide up. Like, reach us on our socials. Like, send us an email, give us a call. Be happy to schedule a chat and see how what's happening today in the market is affecting you as a buyer or seller. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next month for our market update. Thanks so much.